heart of the Syrian desert, there was once a city that should not have existed. A city of stone and light, where Roman columns rose beside Eastern temples, and caravans carried silk, spices, and gold across endless sand. This was Palmyra, and for a brief moment in history, it did not belong to Rome. It belonged to a queen. Imagine approaching the oasis from the desert. First, only heat and silence. Then suddenly, green palms, water, life. And beyond it, a miracle of architecture. Long colonnaded streets stretching like arteries through the city. Tall Corinthian columns glowing in the sun. Carved stone facades blending Roman engineering with Eastern ornament. Temples dedicated to ancient gods. Markets filled with Aramaic, Greek, and Latin voices. And the constant movement of caravans arriving from Persia, Arabia, and the Mediterranean. Palmyra was not a city of one world. It was a meeting point of empires. Palmyra's wealth did not come from conquest. It came from control. Control of the desert trade routes. Silk from the east, spices from Arabia, glass and wine from the west. Every caravan that crossed the desert passed through Palmyra, and with it, power, taxes, influence. But power in the desert is fragile, because whoever controls trade controls ambition. And then she appears, Zenobia, a queen unlike any other. She was not born to simply rule a city. She was educated in philosophy, languages, and war strategy. She reportedly spoke Egyptian, Greek, Latin, and Aramaic. And she did not see Palmyra as a city. She saw it as the center of a new world. Under her rule, Palmyra changed. Roman influence was no longer dominance, but balance. Eastern identity was no longer passive, but rising. And slowly, Zenobia began to imagine something dangerous: independence. Zenobia's power expanded beyond Palmyra. Cities fell under her influence. Egypt came into her orbit. Roman authority in the east weakened. In Palmyra, the atmosphere changed. The city was no longer just a trade hub. It became a capital of ambition. Gold was melted into coinage bearing her image. Laws were issued in her name. And for a moment in time, Rome was no longer the center of the East. Palmyra was. But empires do not tolerate mirrors. In Rome, the message was clear. This could not continue. Emperor Aurelian gathered his legions. The march across the desert began. Palmyra's fate was no longer a question of politics. It was a question of survival. Inside the city, tension grew. The same streets that once celebrated caravans now prepared for war. Zenobia did not flee. She did not surrender. The Roman forces reached Palmyra, and the desert, which once made the city powerful, now made it vulnerable. The siege did not last long. Zenobia attempted to escape eastward, but she was captured before she could reach safety. History is uncertain about her final fate. Some accounts say she was taken to Rome in chains. Others suggest she lived the rest of her life in exile, far from the city she built. But what is certain is that her empire ended where it began, in the desert. Palmyra did not vanish in a single moment. It faded. Trade routes shifted, empires changed, Time moved on, and the desert slowly reclaimed its stone streets. Today, what remains are columns against the sky, arches without voices, and silence where a queen once dreamed of an empire. But if you stand there long enough, and the wind moves through the ruins, it is not silence you hear. It is memory.